Hey guys, Dr. John here. Today we're going to be going over the single arm extension stretch. So this is a modification of that seated arm extension stretch, which allows you to focus on one side more than the other if you feel like one side's a little bit tighter, if you have a little bit more of an asymmetry to one side or the other. It's a great stretch regardless to get through the front of that shoulder and down through the front of that arm into that bicep a little bit. So let's get into it. So we're going to be seated with our knees bent, feet flat on the floor, just like we would for our seated arm extension stretch. I'm gonna have my arms behind me, fingers pointed away from me as much as I can, and I'm going to press through the floor here to make sure I get a nice good stretch to my arms, and I'm gonna scoot my butt down just a little bit away from my hands, and then press through the floor and arch my chest, the middle of my spine there, my thoracic spine. And now I feel this stretch a little bit more in my left arm right here. So this is where we get into the single arm aspect. So I'm going to focus on my left arm here, and I'm going to continue to push to the floor, keep this arch in my spine, and I'm going to take my knees and I'm going to bring them over just a little bit towards my right side. So from here, I'm still continuing to arch. I'm pressing the floor to get a little bit of an extra stretch, and I really feel the stretch now through the front of the shoulder, my bicep, my pec, all through that left side. And then I can always do the same thing on the other side, just setting up this way, keeping that arch, and then bringing my hips over the opposite direction. Now the key here though is, let me go back to this left side here, is as you start to bring this over, you don't want to let your chest go the opposite direction, right? I want to make sure that I keep my chest forward and arched as much as possible. So I'm not letting this shoulder come in, I'm keeping it back, and that's where you're going to make sure that you get the most stretch. All right, so that is how you do the single arm extension stretch.